Well, thank you all for joining us, and good afternoon. My name is Will Reese with AFC Vacations, and I'm joined by longtime tour manager Deb Howard. One of the biggest niches in travel has been cruising, and there's no better way to see the world than to unpack your suitcase and go out each day on a different adventure from one location, then come home to your cabin each and every night where all of your clothes are hung up, bathroom set the way you like it, and food is prepared within walking distance. Within the cruise sector is one special style of travel, and that is European river cruising. It's seen tremendous growth over the last decade, and we've seen it too at AFC. Our cruises have gone from 2 to 4 trips a year, now to over 7 or 8 departures on different rivers throughout Europe. The diversity is fascinating, the countries and cultures are educating, and the food and meals are mouthwatering. The cruises have been selling out, and there are only 2 cruises and 3 departure dates with space remaining for 2024, so please don't wait to book. Along with our river cruises, we also cover our guaranteed departures and what that means and how it can help you plan your trips. Deb will go into the details about our fantastic mystery tours and why they're so popular, and contribute some of our insights into the many cruises we offer. So let's begin. At AFC Vacations, we offer worldwide tours and cruises in all different travel styles. So whether it's an Unpack Once tour from one hotel, a national parks trip by motorcoach, or one of our many train tours, or a European river cruise, which we'll focus on today, there's an option and style for all interests. We also partner with a number of cruise lines, so there are plenty of options for you. One of the biggest differences with AFC Vacations is that we include home pickup if you're within 40 miles of your airport. Beyond 40 miles, there is a supplemental cost, but we can still pick you up. Home pickup is a huge advantage to you as a traveler. It makes things easier to get to and from the airport, and we also offer our home pickup credit. And so what that means is if you make your own arrangements to and from the airport, your final payment will be reduced by $100 per person. So that's a great and easy way to save, especially if you share a ride with somebody. A few of the key pieces of what make AFC Vacations so special and unique come down to an excellent team of real people handling all aspects of your program here. Our staff has over 130 years of travel experience combined, and we look forward to assisting you to make travel easy. Deb Howard and I were conversing and preparing today's show and talking about how it really does make a difference, both as a tour manager as well as a marketing rep, to see familiar faces at our presentations and on different tours. I think this is a huge part of what makes AFC such a great family of travel. The familiarity and comfort, knowing of who you're traveling with, getting to know people and making connections in this big world, where travel with AFC makes it feel so much smaller and friendly. At AFC, we want to try to make sure your travel experience is protected. And so we offer low-cost travel insurance with a cancel for any reason benefit. And this provides security as you move closer to your tour. As a company, we're part of the USTOA, and this is a select group of the top 50 to 60 tour operators in the U.S., and they're covered under a $1 million Travelers Assistance Program. Now, what's new for 2024? First and foremost is our Travelers Club, and this is a great loyalty program. So if you book a 2024 tour or European river cruise, you're automatically enrolled to receive $100 off your next tour or cruise and each trip after. So these credits are valid for 18 months. So once you book your first one and book your second within 18 months, that would apply that $100 credit to your next booking. We are a word of mouth company as well. As we started back in 1982, people told their friends and family all about AFC and got them to join. And so we provide a refer a friend credit. So we appreciate your referrals and provide a $100 credit when you refer your friends to travel with us. Just make sure they mention you in the booking process. And our early booking savings are a great way to save money. If you're within the first 40 passengers to book, you save automatically. So the first 20 to book save the most, and that can be up to $100 in most international trips, and even up to $200 of early booking savings on some of our river cruises. But a very easy way to save, pay your final payment by check and being one of the first to book. Now, what's included with an AFC tour? Round-trip airfare is included in the price, and you can see the entire cost of your tour on each page of the brochure. with specific gateways shown. So if you live near a gateway that's not on the brochure, Dave and our air department can assist in booking your flights, and we have travelers come on tour from all over the country. So don't let that stop you. Even if you don't see your gateway in the brochure, you can talk to Dave and he can get you all set up with air. Our tour managers are wonderful guides that lead you on amazing adventures and bring to life the destinations. They're helpful, organized, and they care about your tour and cruise journey. The hotel's activities and dining that we provide give you a great taste of local life. We incorporate cultural experiences and many meals and local specialties. And the hotels we use are well located, comfortable, and make your stay an experience. The included sightseeing as well as the assistance and commentary from our tour managers make our trips memorable as well. So we have a number of different guarantees at AFC. First and foremost is guaranteed pricing. That means once you deposit your tour, so once you pay your deposit on your trip, your price is locked in. Even as fuel prices change and surcharges come our way for motor coaches and river cruise ships, we absorb that cost and we don't pass it on to our travelers. And that's what you can expect from us. So make sure you secure your pricing with the deposit as soon as possible. The other aspect of our guarantees are our guaranteed departures. And so when you see the GD symbol in the brochure, like on the right-hand side of the page, in the brochure and on the show, that means we have enough passengers on that departure to run. As we move through 2024, you'll see more of these programs going to guaranteed departure status. The next step after that is that these trips do sell out. And we've seen that with a lot of our trips, whether it's domestic, international, or European river cruises. Of course, we do need bookings for something to be a guaranteed departure. So if you don't see a tour as guaranteed quite yet, don't let that stop you from booking. We're making decisions on operating trips earlier than ever based on deadlines from our vendors. So please don't wait to book your tours till the last minute, as there may not be space. We recommend making bookings over 6 months out. Some folks book closer to, but usually that 6-month window is a great telltale of how that trip's going to develop. Our great reservations team will steer you in the right direction to trips which are right for you, and booking early takes advantage of the maximum savings and secures your seat. So on our website, you can find our guaranteed departures list either at the top menu or at the bottom of the homepage under travel styles, as it's shown here. So you scroll under travel styles and the list out, the guaranteed departures is at the top. And that breaks down month to month each of the guaranteed departures. Now, joining us is one of our consistent tour managers with a wealth of knowledge and experience in destinations all over the world. She's been with AFC over 13 years, and I think this is her 14th season with us, and does a fantastic job on each of her trips. I'd like to introduce Deb Howard.
Thank you, Will, for those very thoughtful words. So I am thrilled to be starting my 14th season with a schedule that allows me to travel with so many friends that I've met during my tenure, and to meet and make new friends as well. The year in front of me, as you can see, includes some great mystery tour destinations, as well as my stomping grounds on the eastern seaboard, like the Cape Cod and the Maine tour. And rounding out my year will be the exciting cruises that we're just about ready to talk to you about during this show.
And I did want to mention that I took off some of the trips that have been sold out. So if you don't see your trip that you've already booked, don't worry about it. Some of those trips are sold out, so I didn't put those in the show. But AFC pioneered the mystery tours, and they seem to be incredibly popular with often sold out coaches. Deb, tell folks how they work.
Okay, so you make a financial commitment to fly to an unknown place for 5 to 6 days. You don't know where you're going each day. Now, does that make sense? Well, it does. There are many people who fill up our coaches, and we send them to destinations about 10 times per year. Take note, we don't offer mystery tours to destinations that we already have a scheduled tour, so you can feel comfortable with that. Here's how it works. You're told the average temperature of where you're going. You're told what time the transportation company will pick you up and what airline to report to. And now it's the moment that you're going to find out. Your ticket agent will inform you of your destination city. Are you going to stay there? Well, maybe, maybe not. You might drive a distance to get to the ultimate place. And each day is new. Each tour director handles the experience differently. I often try and give clues and let you try and guess where we're going. But you may not know from hour to hour where you're headed. If you have a sense of adventure and live well in the moment without having to know all of the details in advance, then these tours might be for you. We like to be creative with our itineraries. We offer a number of factory tours and behind-the-scenes venues. I've said this before, and it remains the same. My all-time favorite was the toilet paper factory that was located in Omaha, Nebraska, and it was run by the sight impaired. I just returned from a mystery tour. We went to Tampa, Florida. We saw a number of things. We saw the oldest cigar factory in the country, where in addition to the automatic machines, they are still hand rolling cigars. We saw that take place. We also went to a football stadium where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. We saw the jails that house the unruly guests if they get out of hand in the stadium. Now, whoever would think that there would be such a place? But those are really the kind of fun things that we try and offer, and different things that we do. So you might be thinking or concerned that if you sign up for one, is it going to take you to a destination that you have been to frequently? Well, you can give the office a list of places that you don't want to go to. And while they're not going to tell you where it's going, if you sign up for one that you've already been to, they're going to guide you away from it, or if it's on your list. If for any reason you really have to know where it's going, you can ask. Mind you, we're going to have you sign in blood and be sworn to secrecy, as others really and truly enjoy the surprise. You know, the unique thing that happens with mystery tours is that everyone is experiencing the same unknown excitement and anticipation together. And while sharing in that, there's a bond that brings the group together very quickly. If you've never tried one, I really encourage you to give it a shot. All right. Many of our travelers have gone on 3 or 4 mystery tours a year. So we must be doing something right.
So there's lots of great departures through the end of the year, and the first half of our mystery tours are already guaranteed to operate. So great stretch, and we look forward to that in the fall as well. Now, Deb, you've worked 4 river cruises for us, and in the last 2 years and for this coming year. So it seems to me you really enjoy working the cruises. Tell us why you enjoy them so much.
Wow. Okay. So I've tried to condense this to sort of one easy to understand paragraph. River cruising is being able to see big cities and small European villages in an unpack once elegant setting with tasteful dining, plentiful opportunities for companionship, sightseeing, and moments of reflection. All of this is wrapped up in that river cruise experience. Our ships are normally accommodating approximately 125 guests, so they're small enough to give you really a more intimate feeling than the larger cruise vessels.
How about you walk us through a typical day's experience on a river cruise?
Okay, so your day starts with a buffet breakfast served in the main dining room. Now, after that, we normally have an included excursion where we either board a coach or prepare for an in-town walking tour. All these are led by local English-speaking guides. And our tours always finish up in time for an included buffet lunch back on board the ship. On some days, the ship may depart in the morning for our next destination, And that means we have the chance to relax in the lounge or sit up top on the open air deck and watch the scenery go by. And then, of course, just in case we feel we might go hungry, waiting for dinner, there's an afternoon coffee and tea and delicious European pastries. And those are served daily in the Panorama Lounge, each day around 4 o'clock. If we aren't sailing, there are optional tours that we offer, right? They take us to different sites in the region, about an hour's drive in distance usually. These two are led by English-speaking guides. They offer sightseeing, shopping opportunities. If the optional is not of interest to you and we are tied up close to town, right, we can walk off, tour the town, borrow a bicycle that's on board the ship, do some shopping or visit a pub or go find some cash at an ATM or just casually stroll along the riverbanks. Whatever your choice, all right, our dinner time is always published in the daily itinerary that you're going to get each night. It's going to list the next day's activities, and we always will hear about them when we listen to a port talk that's held each night, all right, covering the next day's schedule. After the port talk, we have an elegant plated multi-course dinner. It includes wine and beer and soft drinks and seltzer. And after dinner, which is a very leisurely event, by the way, you can head up to the lounge for a nightly program. This will consist of musical entertainment, games led by your crews or tour directors. Might even be music that you can dance to, right? Or you can just visit with your fellow passengers, sipping an after dinner drink, always available for purchase from the lounge bar. And by the time your day is done, you head to your cabin for a good night's sleep. Sometimes we even sail at night, and the sounds of the waters are going to lull you to sleep as you prepare for your next day. That's a typical day.
You mentioned tasteful dining as one of your favorite parts of the river cruise. Tell us about your dining experiences.
Well, food is always an important part of river cruising, all right? First of all, I think it's the ambiance, all right? And on these Amadeus ships, wherever you are dining, you have window views where you can enjoy the outside scenery as you dine. Sometimes we've actually left the dock and we're sailing for our next destination, and you can enjoy that view. The international crew, and some of them are pictured here, okay, in the pictures, they really work to get to know you. And as they do, they surprise you with, perhaps they know exactly what you're going to drink, so they bring the beverage before you even ask, or there may be other little extras, something to make you feel remembered. And I think by looking at these pictures, you can see that we are celebrating special occasions, whether they're birthdays or anniversaries, but they're kind of fun. The breakfast buffet is a typical selection of American breakfast choices. We include the meat, the eggs, and the meats, and the fruits, and the pastries. And then we offer the European breakfast options as well. And this is going to include fish and cheeses and meats and breads. Now, if you're just feeling like a regular old omelet, you can order that as a made-to-order item as well. Lunch is a varied selection. In the interest of giving you free time, especially if you've returned from a morning excursion and you're going to head out for an optional tour in the afternoon, we have elected to provide a buffet. And it's a very extensive buffet. It includes all the items: soups, salads, main dishes, breads, cheeses, desserts, coffee, all offered each day. Sometimes the meal choices selected by the chef are based on typical foods of the region, which is really kind of a fun way to experience dining in the country. Dinners are always a 3 to 4 course plated meal with a menu. And you get every night you get a menu, all right, that lists several different choices. And you can elect a soup and a salad and a main dish and then a yummy dessert. I think what I love most is that each plate or each bowl is beautifully presented. And the portion size is so reasonable that with any luck and sometimes some restraint, there is no weight gain. Okay, Will, I've shared my highlights about river cruising. What about yours?
I think one of the big things that stands out to me is the size of the ship and the amount of travelers. People often think of cruising and they think of the huge ocean liners. They hold 4,000 to 5,000 people at this point in time. And this cruising experience is nothing like that. As you mentioned, it's intimate, it's quiet, it's peaceful, and adventurous all at the same time. You get to see a lot of Europe's best sights from the comfort of your moving hotel. And rivers are nothing like the movement of the ocean. So you're gently rocked to sleep as we cruise at night. Waves are almost non-existent except for the wake of other ships. And then the food. I think you and I are alike in that sense. The food is incredible, and the staff work their tails off to take care of you. We have Wi-Fi included, and that allows you to stay in touch with friends and family. And then the tour directors and their handling of logistics is just unmatched. So it's an all-around great experience and a really great opportunity to settle in. Now let's talk about the cruises coming up at the end of this year. Our cruises have been very successful, and as we mentioned, we've gone from about 3 to 4 departures per year on our European river cruises. Now we're departing around 7 to 8 cruises per year, and they sell out very, very quickly. As you can see, we have 4 departures for 2024 at the top that have already sold out. These trips are absolutely lovely and a big hit with travelers. When the Christmas markets of the Danube sold out, we were lucky enough to add space on a charter on the December 9th Switzerland and Christmas markets so that we could still provide you that opportunity this year. Right now, we expect the Switzerland and Christmas markets of the Rhine to sell out in the next few weeks. So you can see just a massive change and fluctuation and excitement over these programs. And it's a great series of destinations with the Christmas markets all over Germany, crossing the border into France a little bit, and then Switzerland. Plus some big and small cities intermixed. So don't wait to book on this cruise as it does have limited space. Then in the fall of 2024, we have the highlights of the Douro with Spain. Now Deb will be traveling on the October 28th departure, and Larry Womack, who many of you have traveled with, will be on the November 4th departure. Right now, both of those cruises do have space, but as we've seen, one big week, and that can change pretty quickly. But let's get into those trips and see what they're all about. With the highlights of the Douro with Spain, having traveled this river last April, this was one of the best experiences to see the most of what Portugal has to offer. You'll fly into Porto and spend 2 nights on board the ship in the city. And like all of our river cruises, we do include free Wi-Fi on board. With this cruise is a unique feature only offered on the Douro, and that is an open bar. I usually make the joke that that's how most people maximize their funds. But your domestic beers, wines, and liquor is always available without cost. And then if you do order a premium drink, you'd be charged for that on your onboard account. But we enjoy 7 nights aboard the great ship with fantastic staff taking care of your every need. Along the way, we have 6 tours included and 1 optional trip to a great winery through the valley. On board, we'll also have the chance to enjoy some wonderful local entertainment. And at 3 ports of call, we invite performers on to dazzle you with the fado dance from Portugal, flamenco from Spain, and a number of folklore dances and music. We'll travel on the Amalia Rodriguez that was built in 2019 specifically for the Douro River. So as the locks and passages are smaller than those of the Danube and Rhine, the ship has 4 decks, a wonderful lounge, and a great sun deck to explore as we cruise along the stunning river. On the sun deck is also a small pool. If the day's nice, you can get out there. One thing I will say is that the Category C and E are already sold out for both departures. Category A is the primary category with space left, and I'll tell you how to save some money on that in just a bit. Like many of our other trips, these cabins do go fast, especially the suites with only 1 junior suite open on November 4th and 2 suites left on October 28th. On the right side is one of the staterooms. Most beds face the window for enjoyment as we cruise. I never thought I'd have to say this, but make sure you close the curtains when you change. We've seen people on ships passing by make that mistake. All cabins, including suites, have a flat screen TV, private bathroom with shower, hairdryer, phone, desk, and safe. Categories A, B, and C have French balconies and vary between about 129 and 145 square feet. So as we look through this cruise, again, options are starting to get limited, so make sure you jump on that when it's available. One of the great features on this ship is the large water jug in each of the cabins. So this is for your use free of charge, and it's refillable in the lounge water station. You can also refill any day use water bottles that you bring with you from home and take those on excursions so you can save on some plastics. Like with all of our cruises, we have whisper systems. Those are the headsets for each of the tour, and these are great to make sure you can hear the guide. In your cabin is also a cruise journal, and that has the itinerary for the week, so that's a great helpful component for the journey. One of the moments I remember most prominently when Matt and I scouted this trip was this time spent sailing past these stunning hillsides, amazing vineyards, and unbelievable cliffs. And these weave their way through the valley. Matt and I captured the picture in the upper right with the ship and the vineyards in the back in the port of Pinau, and that's our jump-off point for a full-day tour up to Salamanca. Now, the city of Porto is spectacular both during the day and night, and we have a city tour with the highlights of Porto. We have a second visit to Porto at the back end where we include a Porto by night tour, and that's where you can see the city and the bridges all lit up at night. Porto is the transport hub for this incredible port wine that we get to try, and included in the tour is a visit to the Bolsa Palace, and it's an ornate and elaborate building in the neoclassical architecture style, inspired by the palaces of Renaissance Italy. Then we take you to one of the many port houses in the city, and you'll get a chance to try both white and red ports in many of the different styles like Ruby, Tawny, and Reserve. Many of the port producers still have bottles on display from the 1800s, and that was pretty amazing to see. But since port is a fortified wine with a higher alcohol content, not only does it get the job done, but it can also age longer and develop more over time. Next stop we make is into the Villa Real area, and on the left is a picture of the Mateusz Palace that we get to tour, and it's a great example of Baroque architecture. It was built in the first half of the 18th century, and it's got an unbelievable expanse of garden space in the back and a forest-like entrance. Its interior decoration includes some intricately designed carved wood ceilings, including walnut wood, and the furniture is dated from several periods: 17th and 18th century paintings, silverware, ceramics, and this incredible library. Probably one of the biggest tour highlights for me was our time in Salamanca, Spain, and the Plaza Mayor of Salamanca, which is pictured here. This was built between 1729 and 1755. It's the main square of the city, and it's a unique artistic achievement in Baroque design. And it's a great place to grab a drink and people watch. Now, Salamanca is a university town, a school dating back to the 1200s, and it was also a Roman settlement as well for centuries. You'll enjoy a fantastic city tour here, featuring the university, cathedral, main square, old quarter, and lunches included. If you choose, you can skip the sit-down lunch for more time on your own to explore. Lamego is an important piece to Portuguese development, and it was the site where the first king crowned in 1143. So the city's Gothic cathedral was built prior to his coronation, and we visit the overlook from the hilltop and the cathedral up there. The site features 686 steps, which are decorated in tile of blue and white, and the image from below is spectacular as well, so if you don't feel like taking the steps, you can wait down below and get a great view of the city too. Here's a quick clip of the experience on the river to take this all in. At the end of the cruise, you'll either return home from Porto or extend your tour. And we offer a 3-night stay in the city by the Bay of Portugal, and that is Lisbon. We have a full day of touring for you with a visit to Nazaré, Óbidos, and Fatima. Nazaré is home to the world's largest wave. In the right conditions, the beach gets the best surfers to try their hand at 80-foot waves. Óbidos is a small medieval town with cobblestone streets, whitewashed homes, and brightly painted trim. And dramatic medieval castle draw you into the magical setting of this ancient walled city. Then we also include the pilgrimage site of Fatima with this incredible esplanade that is 2 times as large as St. Peter's in Rome. Now with this cruise, the November 4th cruise offers 50% off the single supplement and a 1 cabin category upgrade as well. I'll get into those offers. Now there's nothing like spending the pre-holidays in Europe, and the energy around the decorated mini villages with huts built just for the season is truly vibrant. We start this cruise, the Switzerland and Christmas markets of the Rhine, with a 1-night arrival and stay in Lucerne. You'll depart the U.S. December 9th and stay in central Lucerne to enjoy Switzerland and its great treats like Swiss fondue, chocolate, and the goods like watches and pocket knives. We do a walking tour of Lucerne and enjoy time at the Christmas market before heading off to Strasbourg to board the ship. Now the MS Silver II will be our home for 6 nights this Christmas as we journey up the Rhine River, and it's the most famous in all of Europe. We include walking tours in each city and 6 different Christmas markets. Now Lucerne is one of the best big small cities in Europe, and it's fun to explore the Chapel Bridge, which was built in the year 1365. Nearly burnt down in the 90s, but some of the bridge and paintings were saved. And then it's off to Rudesheim and Speyer. Speyer is one of the unexpected highlights for me on the Rhine, and the town and cathedral were absolutely great. The massive construction for the cathedral started in the year 1030, and that's right, the year 1000. So its design, stonework, and size are just a few of the things that took me by surprise. And then it's off to Rudesheim. And this lovely small town on the side of the river is very walkable. Tons of shops and restaurants along with the Christmas market. And that morning will be at leisure, so you can explore the alleys and shops at your own pace. Or we do offer an optional walking tour of Rudesheim and the Mechanical Museum. So, wonderful experience there. And we are excited to release a number of our river cruises departing for 2025. We have a great variety of destinations to offer, as well as cruises throughout the entire year. So this is a fantastic program that we're going to release, and this is the Holland Tulips and Rhine River Castles cruise. So this is a great combination of last year's Holland cruise and the Rhine River cruises that we've offered in the past. So it blends 2 different programs. Even if you've been on one portion or the other, this is a chance to see some new sights along with some familiarity. Deb, you ran the Holland cruise, and I'll go into a couple of different aspects of this program before we get into that. First and foremost is the variance of the dates. So March 26th will work its way from Basel to Amsterdam, and that will be with Deb Howard. So you'll be taking off that first cruise of the year. And this works from Switzerland up to the Netherlands. We'll be on the Amadeus Cara, and it's 7 nights aboard the ship. So we'll start with our way in Basel, flying into Zurich, and then continue from there to Strasbourg, Speyer, and a number of those great Rhine experiences and great cities. Walking tours in most areas that we stop, city tours in Strasbourg, as well as Amsterdam, and we do get a canal cruise in our time in Amsterdam. We have the Rhine castles, we have the beautiful cathedrals, and the amazing flowers during the springtime. So that'll be March and April. And then in October, I'll mention this again, but since the tulips are out of bloom in the fall, we'll replace that with another visit. But we get to see both the Rhine as well as the Moselle River as we work our way over into Kokum. And that's one of the great towns in Europe. In Amsterdam, there are so many great aspects to see. It's one of my favorite cities in all of Europe. And since you ran this cruise in 2023, Deb, what were some of your highlights?
Okay, so there's a few ways to see the sights of Amsterdam. And I'll tell you, being on a bus is not one of them. All right. It's a city with canals and bicycles. I was fortunate. I enjoyed a bike trip of Amsterdam last year before I took the Amsterdam cruise. But we're going to be enjoying exploring the sites in a canal boat. You can see on these pictures, all right, they all have canals. It'll be our first introduction to this once small fishing village. The growth of Amsterdam has actually turned it into a very important port. And the ride that we take will take us through these intricate canals, under many of the bridges, and you will get up close looks at that charming architecture like you see in that top picture. An afternoon excursion will take us into the country to see the famous village of Zanzikans. Here there are historic windmills, distinctive green wooden houses, which were actually relocated here to recreate the look of an 18th and 19th century village. When we're in Zanzikans, you'll see windmills and wooden clog carving. There's a museum that has oodles of clogs to be seen. You'll see barrel making. There's a cheese factory. They have samples. And the tempting smells of a nearby bakery are really hard to resist. Now, in the spring, we will visit the world's second largest flower garden with 7 million bulbs planted annually. It's called the Garden of Europe. Now, we all know that as Keukenhof, all right? This is really the Netherlands showplace. The best time to visit is anywhere between mid-March and mid-April, so we've timed our spring cruise perfectly. And Will's going to share with you what our fall departure will see, since the tulips have been mowed down and put to bed until the following year.
So on our October 12th departure, there's a slight variance since the tulips are out of bloom, but we replaced that visit with a beautiful harbor town called Volendam. And this is where you can learn about the many floods the area saw in its early days, why the canals, dams, and other structures were put into place to keep the sea at bay. The harbor has classic sailing vessels and wonderful shops and restaurants to visit, and we'll also venture to a cheese tasting. So that's where you can try some of the local specialty known as Edam. So wonderful opportunity there. Koblenz and Cologne are two great cities that we'll visit along this cruise. And Cologne is a world-class city with one of the largest cathedrals in the world and one of the most iconic cathedrals in Europe. So we get to enjoy that on a walking tour. We continue downriver and end up in Koblenz, and this sits at the junction of the Rhine and Moselle rivers. It was founded in 9 BCE as a Roman town and makes it one of Germany's oldest and most beautiful cities. And we take you for a walking tour to enjoy the sights. Then we'll also work our way over on the Moselle River and get a chance to see the town of Kokum. And it's a beautiful city split by the river, as well vineyards on either side, making that great Riesling grape and wonderful wines that we get to enjoy. One of the most recognizable aspects of this cruise is the stretch of the Rhine where we take in the castles as we sail. So from Koblenz to Mainz, or the other direction, we enjoy the many hillside castles and towers that have stood for centuries. The cruise director usually gives commentary on the different points of reference, and it's always fun to spend time on deck as we pass these great features, getting some amazing photos. Then it's off to Strasbourg, and this lies at the border of France and Germany. It's a blend of cultures and experience where we enjoy the major cathedral on our walking tour of the city, as well as many of the half-timbered homes and shops. And we end this cruise in Basel. Some folks choose to fly home from there, but we also offer a 2-night pre- or post-cruise, depending on the direction of the cruise date. So March 26th runs south to north from Basel up, and then April 1st and October 12th runs southward, Amsterdam down. So this is a great opportunity to add to that, to give a little bit something different and a greater focus in Switzerland. So we stay 2 nights at one hotel in Lucerne. We either board the ship or get off the ship in Basel. and get a great city tour of that town as well. Now, Lucerne is one of my favorites in all of Europe, and this is such a great city to walk around. Very easy to get through, and that Chapel Bridge, as well as the mountains in the backdrop, and you can see it on the right-hand side. You have the historic bridge and the mountains, and so just a wonderful, wonderful area. 2 breakfasts are included, your tour manager through the whole way, and then your transfers to the hotel and the ship. Now, the Burgundy and Provence River Cruise was the first opportunity I had to cruise in Europe, and it was one of the reasons I fell in love with this style of travel. So we offer the Burgundy and Provence River Cruise October 28th, and this is with 7 nights aboard the Amadeus Provence, and a lot of great tour components on this. Some really great experiences that we incorporate. So wonderful components. And Deb ran this cruise as well in the last year, so I'll let you tell folks about the experience.
Okay, so the trip really focuses on the Burgundy and Provence regions of France, which is known for producing some of the finest and the most expensive wines in the world. We also get the chance to see fields and fields, like that upper right-hand picture, of vineyards and country scenery. All right. I think this tour offers a tremendous amount of nature and natural beauty. So let me tell you a little bit about what we do. On the first day of the cruise, we have an opportunity to get out into the country, as you see here. We're going to do some wine tasting. We travel to see acres and acres of vineyards, and we're going to go to the De Boeuf Museum. This winery focuses on Beaujolais wine, and it is a museum, but of course it includes wine tasting. So in the afternoon, when we get back, you can either disembark from the ship and do some exploring into the town of Mâcon on your own. You might want to go see the oldest wooden building with a facade decorated with wooden monkeys, which was built back in the late 1400s. You might check out, like you see that church right there with a rosette window. You see amazing architecture. I kind of found it unusual because there were a lot of embellishments on the buildings there. You have a chance to do some local shopping. You can sit in a cafe, have some coffee, or really you can simply walk along the river. So the next day we travel to Beaune. Okay, this is a region that is renowned for an annual wine auction. The auction was held at a former hospital, and we take a look inside this 15th century French building. Now you'll see it shows us on that left picture. Whoops, go right back to the left picture. It shows us how that hospital was set up. Okay, now we go and see the unusual geometric patterned roof. There we are. Okay, look at that roof. All right. That is so cool in itself. Finally, we go down to a cave that's nice, cool, and comfortable temperature. You see here, we sit along the sides of the wall and we experience wine tasting of the Burgundy region. That afternoon, we have an optional excursion. We go out into the countryside. We see Brancion. It's a medieval village with abbeys and other structures that were built between the 11th and the 14th centuries. Our feature for the afternoon is the Castle of Cormacin, as seen on the right, surrounded by wide moats, set in beautiful gardens dotted with ponds. We get a guided tour of the castle, and the castle really reflects the French and Parisian fashion that was popular during the reign of Louis XIII. That is our optional tour. The next day brings us back to Lyon, where we enjoy a city tour of this UNESCO World Heritage Site. It contains ancient ruins, medieval quarters, Renaissance houses. A lot of the downtown buildings have plenty of the Trompe l'oeil art design. These are two-dimensional designs that are painted on the walls of buildings, meant to look like three-dimensional. You've probably seen them in a number of towns, but they're quite prevalent here. And we have time to enjoy an open air artist market. And those markets have not only arts and crafts, but they have some of the local foods as well. Before we get back and sail that afternoon to Avignon. Alrighty, so I want you to think back to your French class and remember a song that was very popular. And I asked Will to sing this with me. He didn't know the song. Clearly it dates me. I'm going to sing it for you, and I do hope that some of you recognize it. Sur le pont d'Avignon, l'on y danse, sur le pont d'Avignon, l'on y danse tout en rond. Okay, I hope you recognize that. It's a song about children dancing on the bridge in Avignon. We get to see the bridge. We stop, we sing, I video, all right? It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Now, truth be told, I kind of forgot the words actually mean dance, and I'm considering on a future trip having us dance in front of the bridge. What do you think? Okay, we leave the bridge, and when we walk past the bridge, we enter the walled city and move on to tour the Palace of the Popes. Look at this huge, massive Gothic structure. Right? This served as a papal residence for 7 popes, served as a fortress, a church, and a palace. It takes quite some time to enjoy and tour this palace. You will have ample time for the rest of the afternoon to enjoy Avignon, all right? You can return to the ship for lunch, and then, or you can stay, your choice, eat in town, all right? And in the afternoon, we offer an optional tour to see the bridge Pont du Gard. This is a bridge that stretches across a 31-mile aqueduct that was built by the Romans in the middle of the 1st century. It was aimed to provide fresh water to the town of Nimes. We'll also visit another town, Uzes. It's perched on a hill, and it was once the residence of 17th and 18th century bourgeois. Okay, they had grown very wealthy on the business of textiles. So day 7 brings us to Arles. Arles is where we will take a walking tour to a Roman amphitheater. You see it right there. Our local guide will sit us in the theater. And as you look around, you can just imagine the 20,000 seats filled with Romans during their gladiator fights. Now, that amphitheater is still used for traditional bullfighting. It's also a town that attracted well-known artists like Vincent van Gogh. And our local guide will tell us the stories of Van Gogh. When he was in Arles, he had a very troubled existence, and that is where he took his own ear off. That afternoon, we have an optional tour. It takes us to a nature park. This is Camargue Nature Park. Marshes and farmland are a protected area, and it has the renowned bulls and the Camargue white horse, seen right there, all right? The Camargue horses are ridden by the guardians. They help raise the cattle, right, to become, to fight the bulls, right? They're mostly left to be raised in semi-feral conditions. Now, truth be told, they're rounded up from time to time for medical treatment and for other special events, but you sure get a good look right there. That afternoon, we go to a seaside town on the Mediterranean. We were there last year during Halloween. Everybody was dressed in Halloween costume. The kids were coming through. They were going to all of the little kiosks, and they were trick-or-treating in the kiosks. It was great fun. Local crafts, foods, specialty items. I picked up a chef's hat and an apron for my grandkids, and they were personalized right there. So our final day of touring has us covering some ground on the river, all right? But first we offer our last optional tour to the Ardèche region. This was really a highlight for a lot of us. You're traveling some winding roads. You see some lavender and olive fields. We enter the gorge area by seeing the Pont d'Arc bridge. This is a 54-meter high natural bridge carved out of the limestone cliffs. The gorge is about 30 kilometers long. It has rocky terrain. The vegetation that we see on our ride, pine trees, scrub oak, vines, plants. We may see some wildlife. You can see eagles and birds of prey and lizards. And we saw, because I took that picture, a lot of wild goats. Look at them climbing the hillside. There's a viewing stop. It includes a museum. We can purchase a glass of wine, and that's the spot where we take a picture of ourselves in front of the gorge, which you can see there. It's a lovely way to conclude a week's tour in the southern France region. That afternoon, we return to the ship and we have some relaxing time. You can chat with friends, you can read a good book, you can play shuffleboard on the top deck, you can enjoy the sunshine, or you can pack for the next day's departure. So either we'll go to the airport the next day, or you may choose to join us on a 2-day extension trip to Paris. We'll take a train. All right. When we arrive in the afternoon, we will have a city tour upon our arrival, showing us the key sites in Paris: Notre Dame, Arc de Triomphe, Champs-Élysées, the Eiffel Tower. We leave some time for you to enjoy exploring Paris, and perhaps you'll have a chance to dine at the very well-known style of restaurant called brasseries. And that's our cruise.
So I know you're leaving for the Paris and Normandy cruise this month and then again in October. In 2025, we're offering this program October 21st. It was so popular the last couple of years that we brought it back, and it's seen a great boom again. So let's talk about that cruise.
Okay, so I actually leave on Sunday for this cruise. We are going to start by flying into Charles de Gaulle, all right, which is in Paris. Depending upon your arrival time, we may take you to lunch at a nearby restaurant for kind of a scatter lunch on your own, or some sort of other activity before boarding the ship, as that usually takes place mid-afternoon. Well, why don't we start by showing the video of the Amadeus ship that we have. Okay, so that gives you a really nice view of the ship and some of the places that we're going to go. So let's kind of go through the itinerary. The first night we sail to Conflans, where in the morning we will board a coach to go see the village. This is where Van Gogh lived and where his final resting place is. We do get an opportunity to go to a museum that provides a multimedia experience featuring his paintings that are set in motion with sound effects and with music. And the rest of that afternoon is free. You can spend some additional time in town, or you can head back to the ship. On the following day, we go to Rouen. Okay, this is one of the three main ports of France. Now, you will want to put on your walking shoes, okay, for this day. We have a guided walking tour of the cobblestone pedestrian center. You'll have a chance to check out the architecture. We will see the 16th century stained glass windows of the Church of the Joan of Arc. Rouen is actually known as a museum town. So during your free time that afternoon, you can see many of their museums if you would like, or return to the ship. Taking careful note, ship departs at 5 o'clock. On day 5, we have a choice of staying on board the ship or taking a morning optional tour to the town pictured here. It's a charming maritime city called Honfleur. This is a harbor that has working fishing vessels. You'll find some narrow streets, some period churches. We've elected to offer this this tour in the morning because it's going to give you a chance to see the local market, which is only open in the morning, and you can purchase some arts and crafts or some food products, some cider and caramels. Or there's a very well-known brandy that is typical to this area. It's called Calvados, and it's made from apples or pears. So the following day that afternoon, all right, is an included excursion out to look at that coastline, to the famous Normandy coastline in Étretat, all right. It has cliff top paths. They're suitable for a short hike. The views are outstanding, even if you don't hike, all right. It's an enjoyable place to look. If any of you have watched Lupin on Netflix, this is a story about a gentleman thief, if there is such a thing. And this is where his story takes place. If you haven't watched it, it might be fun to watch it, and then you'll recognize the places. My favorite, very reasonably priced scarf was purchased in Étretat in one of the many shops in this little town. Okay, moving on to day 6. This is a highlight for many people, all right? There is an all-day included excursion to Normandy. We start with a visit to the promontory Pont de Hoc. This is the place that the U.S. Army Rangers scaled the 100-foot cliffs and seized the German artillery pieces that could have fired on the American soldiers at Omaha Beach. We'll continue on to Omaha Beach. We'll stop at this beach. It's unlike any other of the assault beaches in Normandy. It's crescent curved, and the bluffs and cliffs were immediately recognizable from the sea. So therefore, it was one of the most defensible beaches. Our final stop on this day will be the American Cemetery. This is where over 9,000 American troops are laid to rest. It's a powerful visit. It's very emotional, but it's an important day, and I think that you'll enjoy that. So day 7, the Amadeus Diamond, that, by the way, is the name of our ship. It'll be cruising all day. if you so choose, but I'm going to highly suggest that you consider taking the optional excursion to Monet's house and gardens. Just before we get to his gardens, we'll see a short drive will take us to Chateau Gaillard, where we see an English king's castle right on the hillside overlooking the water. And then we move on to Giverny. And this is the town that inspired Claude Monet. We will tour his house. We will tour his gardens. I guarantee you, if you take this tour, you will be inspired and want to go back to your own gardens. All righty, day 8. We're now back in Paris. We take a guided tour of this famous city. They're preparing for the Olympics now. We will see the Eiffel Tower as well as some of the other sites that have well-known sites in Paris. Your afternoon is clear to enjoy the sights of Paris if you wish. If not, we have offered a charming, an optional tour, all right, to the charming hill town of Montmartre. You will be able to work off all your desserts as you walk and climb along the winding streets with stairways and lampposts and cobblestone squares. They have watercolor painters and sketch artists, and you can watch them paint, and you can just kind of get into the scene as you're there. So our final day, those of you who are departing, will take you to the airport. And if you are going to take our 2-night London extension, we're going to take the Eurostar train ride for this optional extension to the tour. If you join us, we'll spend 2 nights. It's a really nice hotel. It's near Kensington Gardens. And on arrival, we will enjoy a London city tour. This will include the famous landmarks like Tower of London, Trafalgar Square, Buckingham Palace, Big Ben, and we'll conclude with an English pub dinner. All right. By the way, they have our hotel, as well as some nearby places, have some nice high tea options for the afternoon. This is a terrific cruise that has been very popular with our AFC travelers, and it's being offered. So, Will, we are nearing the holiday season in our list of tours here. What sort of cruises do we have in store to celebrate with each other?
So for December of 2025, we have our Switzerland and Christmas Markets of the Rhine, and that departs December 3rd. We'll be on board the MS Cara, and that was built in 2022, so very recent, very new and updated. And then we do still have those 6 great Christmas market experiences. Get to see the city of Lucerne overnight and on a walking tour. Great market experiences. And then we also incorporate the towns of Speyer, Koblenz, and of course Cologne at the end. So really fun itinerary. And we'll work our way through the Rhine on this one. Then we have the Vienna and Christmas Markets of the Danube River Cruise. That'll be December 10th of 2025. And this will be on the brand new ship, the Nova, built this year. So just released. And this is a very modern, beautiful ship, very sleek. And so all the comforts that you need are right there on board. Similar to our other cruises, we have free Wi-Fi on board. At dinners, we have wine, beer, and soft drinks included. And then this one hits great towns like Nuremberg. We'll do a city tour, get to see the areas of the Nuremberg trials. We go to Rothenburg and the medieval walled city for a walking tour. And then we work our way into and across the border into Austria. And that's where we do a optional full day excursion to Salzburg, as well getting over to Vienna. So those are 2 of the world-class Christmas markets as well, some of the highlight Christmas markets in all of Austria. And just a wonderful experience December 10th leaving the U.S. So great opportunities there to travel. Now, Deb, you said you thought our audience might have some questions about the Christmas Markets cruises. What are the questions I could help answer?
So if I'm on a Christmas Markets cruise, I'm assuming there's going to be some great shopping opportunities. And I would imagine that our audience is going to be interested in knowing what are the kinds of things that I can expect to purchase that I can actually bring home in my suitcase.
Yeah, absolutely. So Christmas ornaments are usually one of the biggest items. Those are handmade in most cases, and each vendor has a little bit different styles and varieties. Christmas decor, woolen goods, always good to pick up a hat and gloves if it gets chilly. Gift edibles like chocolates, jams, and liqueurs. And then I highly recommend going on a reconnaissance loop to survey your options first. So checking out all the vendors and then coming back to the ones you find.
So and this isn't me, if I'm not much of a shopper, what can my partner do while the other one shops?
One of the things I enjoy most is just taking in all the atmosphere around the markets. So the music that's played around us, sipping the hot mulled wine, and that has spiced cinnamon, cloves, and citrus, and they all do it a little bit different. So it's always good to try them all. And then just wander the town and take in all the sights and smells. And it's really a great tradition in each of these towns. A lot of great variety to what they offer, and even a carousel in a lot of these little areas. So those are always fun. Now the markets are outside. So as we depart, I recommend a jacket. Depending on the excursion and location, there are times where you can choose to skip the touring to shop if you prefer that. And then the stalls are also primarily take euro, while some accept credit cards. But most places in Europe don't accept US dollars. So I did want to put that out there. So we also partner with a couple of different cruise lines. We work with Holland America as well as Princess. And so if you don't see something in our brochure that tickles your fancy, there are a lot of variety to what they offer on the big cruises. But again, there's a big difference between the ocean liners and those European river cruises. In terms of the show specials that we're offering, so if you book a new 2024 or 2025 tour or European river cruise by next Friday, April 19th, we're reducing the deposit. So most of our deposits are between $400 and $600 per person. We're bringing that down to $250 up until next Friday. We're also taking $20 off the travel insurance if you pay for that with your deposit. And then I mentioned those early booking savings, and that's a great way to save. So you can save up to $200 on our European river cruises and up to $100 on most domestic and international tours. So you'd be the first ones to book within that first 20 bracket. You save the most amount of money, being one of the first 20 passengers to book. Then the 21st through 40th passengers also save money on these programs. You would just pay your final payment by check. So great ways to save there. Now for the Normandy and 2 Christmas markets river cruises in 2025 that have not been added to the catalog yet, please call to get on a priority wait list as soon as they're released. Anyone on the wait list is guaranteed a $200 booking discount. So that's a great way to put yourselves first, get yourself booked on those programs. Again, the 2 Christmas markets, Vienna and Switzerland, and then the Normandy program that haven't been quite released yet. And so get on the wait list for those. In addition to that, our 1 cabin category upgrade is good for our 2024 cruises as well. We'll get those out for the 2025 programs for a limited time. So what that means is you would book a lower category and you're automatically upgraded to the category above it, especially for that Douro River cruise with the category A being the majority of what's available still. If you book a category B and pay that category B price, you're automatically upgraded to the category A. So that's a great way to save money, paying the lower price anywhere between a $200 and $400 per person savings. But that's good on both the 2024 cruises that are still remaining, and we'll do a release on those 25s as well. But use the code 25RELEASE when you make your booking by next Friday, and all of these will apply. And how to book, you can call us at our 1-800-369-3693 number. Talk to Joe, Holly, April, or Sam. And you can also email them, Joe, Holly, or April at afctours.com, or find our forms on the afcvacations.com website. So nice and easy ways to book there. So, Deb, we've covered a lot of ground today on our upcoming cruises. And as we come to a close on the travel show, do you have anything else to add?
So thanks, Will. This has been a great exercise in reflecting on my past cruise experiences and why I enjoy them and think that our AFC passengers will enjoy them. And I think that this type of cruising provides significant flexibility for the traveler to take advantage of a full itinerary or to sit back and take advantage of what appeals to you most. The fact that you've unpacked once, that you have quality, intimate dining experiences, you don't leave the dining room overstuffed every night, you can get your hair done, have a massage, or sit in the lounge with drinks and listen to music. These cruises give you choices. If it were me, I would call up my favorite friends and family and encourage them to join you for the quality time that you can spend together touring and dining. Or you can go your separate ways if you enjoy doing different things, but knowing you're coming back at night under the same roof to a beautifully appointed ship. Honestly, in fact, I feel so strongly about this that I invited my sister and my husband to join us, and they're both coming. This is Bill's second river cruise that he will be on. He'll be on the October one in Paris. And when he was on the Danube cruise, he knew it was my job to work, and he doesn't normally like to tag along behind his wife. But he so enjoyed visiting and touring and dining with other guests that he's looking forward to this next cruise. So I hope you'll think about it. Come and join us. I hope you enjoy the experience as much as I do. And I thank you for listening to our thoughts.
Thanks so much, Deb. Many of you have enjoyed conversations with the different members of the AFC family, so I'll quickly introduce you to them. From left to right, we have Joe, Dave, Samantha. We also have Sarah, who handles our graphics. Matt Kennel in the middle is our president. Then April, Delta, Cheryl, Holly, and myself. There's that short guy at the end would be me. But we appreciate your time and travel with AFC Vacations and hope these shows inspire you on your next tour or cruise with us. So give us a call and plan the next adventure with AFC Vacations. And thanks so much again for attending.